One of hip-hop's most powerful figures, yes, we're talking about the Diddy, is in the middle of what might be the most explosive trial we've ever seen. And trust me, honey, this isn't just about his empire crumbling. It's dragging his entire family into some seriously dark territory.
P. Diddy's team is back at it, calling for the entire indictment against him to be thrown out. That means they want all the federal charges against Diddy to be dropped. The defense says there have been blatant violations of Diddy's rights, all at the hands of the government, alleging they're spying on him from behind bars. In a newly filed motion, Diddy's team lists out all the ways they believe the prosecution has sabotaged the case.
Let me spill all the details. This courthouse drama involving Sean Diddy Combs isn't just another celebrity scandal, it's a full-blown saga. And here's the part that literally made everyone's jaws drop. Christian King Combs, Diddy's firstborn, completely broke down in court. Why? Because someone made this absolutely chilling connection between his father's alleged crimes and, brace yourself, the tragic death of his mother, Kim Porter. I'm telling you, this isn't your typical Hollywood drama. We're talking about a web of conspiracy so thick, with heartbreak so deep and legal trouble so serious that everyone's questioning everything they thought they knew. Picture this scene. Manhattan's federal courthouse, September 17th. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Every single reporter, every photographer, everyone was holding their breath as Diddy walked into that courtroom. And honey, those charges? They read like something straight out of a Hollywood thriller, except this is real life. We're talking racketeering, sex scandals, and these mysterious freak-off events. But trust me, that was just scratching the surface.
Yeah, Jesse, it was pretty interesting because I think, we have seen many photos, videos of Sean Combs, aka Diddy, through the Associated Press, through Instagram. And so to see him kind of in person after being in jail for 3 weeks now was pretty interesting, to say the least. And I say that by being that you would expect him to feel a little defeated, a little gaunt, anything like that. But it wasn't that case. He appeared confident. He stood tall. But most importantly and most notably, when he walked inside the courtroom, the first thing that he looked at was his family. As soon as he saw his family, he just lit up. Another thing to note too is he wasn't shackled, but he was wearing a khaki prison-like jumpsuit when he appeared inside court, and his family appeared on their end very just happy to see him. Now, I will say, when I was inside the courtroom, I was a little bit towards the back right side of the gallery, and so for seeing Sean Combs, I had to look through a few heads and stuff like that. But again, he appeared just kind of confident walking inside that courtroom, and it might have just been the look that his family was there. So let me kind of paint a picture for you as well too. His mother arrived a little bit before 1 p.m. Eastern time today, and then whenever his children actually came into the courtroom, the courthouse actually kind of got silent. It was pretty interesting to see that as well too. So as far as who was sitting by who, you had Janice Combs, who sat by Justin, then it was followed by Chance, the twins, Jesse and Delilah, Quincy, and then Christian Combs, aka King. And so again, once they all saw their father, they all smiled at him, waved at him. And even when we were all leaving the courthouse today, Diddy just blew kisses at his mother and his family members. They didn't say much of anything. I wasn't outside when they had first entered the courthouse, so I'm not sure if they said anything to the press. Previously, they had been very quiet whenever they had entered the courtroom, so I assume it'll be kind of like that as well too.
Now let's talk about Christian King Combs. This poor boy who's been working so hard to make his own name in music had to sit there and face all of this. My sources tell me he was trying to keep it together, but darling, the cracks were showing. Witnesses say he was clutching those court documents so tight his hands were literally shaking. By the end, he completely lost it, covering his face, trying to hide what was clearly an emotional breakdown.
And so the defense pretty much didn't object to too much inside the courtroom today. Agnifilo also appeared kind of confident during his arguments. I know a lot of people were kind of expecting for the bail or bond argument to be happening, but that didn't happen, and it appeared that the defense kind of, I'm trying to find the right word here, but they were pretty much complying with all the prosecution's arguments and plan to kind of have everything all good and set to go by May. Now, by the time the end of the year is to happen. Oh, I forgot like one big turn right here. They did mention that a potential superseding indictment could come. Now, obviously that hasn't happened yet, but the investigation is still ongoing. And so, we don't know a lot of information as far as what that could look like, but it appears that we could expect more charges to come later on, potentially by the end of the year.
The revelations in those documents that had Christians so shaken, absolutely devastating. We're talking decades of alleged manipulation and coercion. These freak-offs weren't just parties, they were allegedly calculated events where victims found themselves trapped in situations they couldn't escape from. Sources say victims were reportedly kept under control using various substances. If these allegations turn out to be true, they won't just end Diddy's career, they'll completely shatter the pristine image the Combs family has maintained all these years.
A discovery hearing is scheduled for today in the federal investigation into sexual allegations against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. More than 30 lawsuits have already been filed against him alleging sexual assault and rape. 3 separate anonymous suits were filed just last week by men accusing Combs of putting drugs in their drinks and then allegedly raping them. The hip-hop star's attorney says these latest lawsuits are, quote, full of lies. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all the federal charges that are against him, and he's talked about some of these civil suits as well. Here with me now is the attorney representing the latest 3 accusers, Thomas Giffra. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I want to ask you, there are dozens of people coming forward. Some to you, some to another attorney, but there are dozens of people. What stood out with these 3 men to you that made you say, you know what, we need to file this case?
The patterns. Whenever you have a serial abuser, they follow a pattern. Harvey Weinstein had a pattern, Sean Combs has a pattern, and with all 3 of them, the stories are a little different, but the pattern's always the same. Come into my orbit, have a drink, you get woozy, take a rest, wake up to being sodomized. That was the pattern, and it was the same in every single story.
And the details that they told you, can you give me a sense of, was there some detail that sort of stuck with you that said, I have to go forward with this?
Well, I think the person who was his gopher really struck me when he regained consciousness and Sean says to him, I'm almost done, held still. And that struck me. That was a powerful recollection, and I was struck by it, and the rawness and the arrogance actually that went along with it, and the entitlement. So that was the one that really stuck with me.
But wait, because this story takes an even darker turn. Remember Kim Porter's tragic passing in 2018? Well, this case has ripped open those wounds all over again. The official ruling was lobar pneumonia, but I'll be sure Kim's ex and father of Quincy Brown isn't buying it. He's been demanding authorities take another look, and what he's saying is sending shockwaves through the industry. In this explosive new Peacock documentary, Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, I'll Be Sure, whose real name is Albert Joseph Brown, finally breaks his silence about the alleged love triangle between himself, Kim, and Diddy. And let me tell you, what he's revealing is absolutely chilling.
You got me acting crazy in front of all these people.
Something is not right with this.
Brown dropped this bombshell. I was told that Combs wasn't too happy about anyone who had a relationship with Kimberly. But here's the part that sent chills down everyone's spine. He claims Kimberly warned him, "Don't do this, don't get involved, you will get killed." Brown's voice trembled as he added, "Let's just say you got to listen to Kimberly because not only was she trying to save me, she was putting her own life in danger." He couldn't say more because of ongoing legal proceedings, but promised there's more to come at some point. And remember that Instagram post he made back in October? He called Porter's death a tragic murder and demanded an investigation, even though the LA County Department of Medical Examiner coroner had ruled it natural causes, lobar pneumonia. The story gets even more intriguing when you hear about Porter's last days. She was found deceased in her Toluca Lake home, just north of Los Angeles, on that fateful November 15, 2018. She was only 47. Sources close to E! News revealed she had been battling pneumonia and was under a doctor's care. But here's where it gets complicated. Before her relationship with Diddy, Kim had Quincy with Al B. Sure, who's now 33. And Al B sure made it crystal clear in the documentary. I have to keep in mind what people were fed. This propaganda against me over the years about Puffy did this and adopted your kid. There's no adoption, none. And if you haven't noticed, his name is still Brown.
There have been a lot of names that have come up recently with all of this Diddy drama happening right now, but there is one name in particular we want to talk about specifically. The late Kim Porter, Diddy's ex-girlfriend. And it's strange that her name is coming up and is part of the conversation because it's really centered around her death. And that's what we're going to get into. Now, Sean Diddy Combs, of course, is in the news a lot lately after he was hit with numerous lawsuits alleging sexual assault, sexual violence, physical violence, sex, illegal weapons, and narcotics possession. And of course, his homes in LA and Miami were raided last month. His sons, Christian and Justin, were placed in handcuffs. They were detained, not arrested. This reportedly is all pursuant to an ongoing federal sex trafficking investigation from New York. Now, there have been no arrests. There have been no indictments. There have been no charges other than a Diddy associate who was arrested on charges on the day of the raids. But experts we've spoken to indicate that charges against the rapper and music mogul could very well be on the horizon. But we shall see. Now, with all of this going on, let's talk now about Kim Porter. So who is Kim Porter? Well, Kim Porter was originally from Georgia. She was a model. She was an actress. She presented in fashion shows. She was on the covers of magazines like Essence and Jet. In terms of her acting career, she appeared in projects like Law & Order, Wicked Wicked Games, and The Brothers and Mama. But really, where she became most renowned was for her romantic relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. She started dating Combs in the 1990s. They reportedly had an on-again, off-again relationship. They ended up having a son together, Christian. He was born on April 1st, 1998. Now, she had her first son, his name's Quincy Brown, but she had him with a music producer named Al B. Shore. But Diddy actually considers Quincy as his own son. November 15th, 2018, at age 47, Kim Porter is found dead in her home in Toluca Lake, California. LA County Sheriff's Office said that at the time that officers responded to her home at 11:40 a.m., they found her unresponsive. She was pronounced dead on the scene. Initially, an autopsy was performed on Porter the next day, and according to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner Coroner's Office, the cause of death was deferred pending additional tests. Well, then you fast forward to January 2019, 2 months later, and the office then concludes that she died of lobar pneumonia. Manner of death, natural, had apparently gone into cardiac arrest. It was reported that she had been battling flu-like symptoms in the days leading up to her death and that there were water bottles, sports drinks, even Pedialyte were all in her bedroom. Days after her death, Combs commented publicly about Porter's death for the first time, writing on Instagram, quote, "For the last 3 days, I've been trying to wake up out of this nightmare, but I haven't. I don't know what I'm going to do without you, baby. I miss you so much. Today I'm going to pay tribute Today I'm going to pay tribute to you. I'm going to try and find the words to explain our unexplainable relationship. We were more than best friends. We were more than soulmates. We were some other S. And I miss you so much. Super Black Love."
Adding fuel to this already blazing fire is this controversial new memoir, Kim's Lost Words, A Journey for Justice from the Other Side. Now, while people are debating whether it's authentic or not, it certainly stirred up new questions about Porter's untimely passing and her complicated relationship with Diddy.
Again, I can't dictate what others believe. I'm just telling you what's out there. Some believe that that memoir is real. They point to an interview that was done in 2012, so 6 years before her death, where in the interview, Kim talks about wanting to write a book. I will say it doesn't appear that she's referencing a memoir or any sort of tell-all book at all. She says,
but I've been in the business and been around the business. It's become a phenomenon. It's a culture. It's a, it's just for me, I wanted to present something beautiful and package it and almost like an ode to them, to what they've done.
Some netizens think that she's just using that as a cover to write a memoir. Some netizen comments read, if this book is false, how come the author hasn't been sued? I mean, I really hope it's fake though, because there's a lot of crazy there. Another comment reads, the more that I listen to folk coming up against the book, the more I believe in its authenticity. Others referenced Chris Todd's interviews and they say, this man got too much confidence not to have proof that Kim wrote this book. He got some type of proof somewhere because he just has too much confidence. Another says, what if a close friend of Kim's had the actual book and flash drives but is just too scared to come out because they're too interconnected and is using this man as a front? Guys, think about it. Another comment reads, this is a lot of to make up. I can see some things being true, but who knows? Then there's another group of people that, yes, they want her death to be investigated, but they don't believe that she wrote that book on Amazon. They comment, that book at first glance, this reeks of a shamelessly fabricated cash grab attempt. I don't know, it just seems a little too convenient, and the stories that I've seen excerpts of appear to be someone just wildly producing sensationalized garbage and toxic gossipy bullshit. I hope for the sake of any potential victims that these things did not occur.
I wish, for the sake of Kim's family, because bruh, if you know what I know, he put Kim in a gold casket, then has security, 24-hour security at the funeral home, so nobody would go in there and touch the casket or take Kim out of there. I think that they should reopen our case and have an independent pathologist look at everything about her so she can rest in peace. So, I know people, paperwork, and this other young lady on the internet, they are spearheading the reopening of Kim's case. And I hope they do.
Now, let me break down these allegations that have everyone talking, especially why Christian is being pulled into this nightmare. The unsealed indictment isn't just pointing fingers at Diddy, it's exposing what prosecutors claim was a deeply disturbing system. According to them, these weren't just regular parties. They were secretive gatherings where young women were allegedly lured under false pretenses. The details of what happened at these freak-offs are too graphic to share, but let's just say they allegedly left victims with no way to escape or resist.
Displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms, Diddy providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers, Christian Combs woman, Mr. Combs, Diddy, detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with famous pastor T.D. Jakes to do damage control.
Oh yeah, T.D. Jakes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, he told Little Rod allegedly that he uses him to do damage control.
Whoa.
Which I personally, in my opinion, I would find that a little believable with his constant bringing up of God while he's doing allegedly very demonic stuff.
Yeah.
He also alleges in his lawsuit that Young Miami of City Girls, her cousin, essayed him, that actor Cuba Gooding Jr. essayed him and him, that redacted rapper, the name is redacted on the lawsuit, redacted rapper on the yacht was consorting with underage girls, redacted R&B singer in Diddy's LA home was consorting with underage girls and sex workers. So these are the serious criminal allegations that he's bringing forth in his lawsuit. He claims he witnessed the Combs family allegedly, potentially, maybe, shoot someone, which we will cover that more in part 3, but Rodney Jones alleges in his lawsuit, throughout his time living with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was the victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Mr. Combs. A brief list of allegations further include, now again, these are allegations, Diddy would shower and walk around naked while forcing Rodney Jones to work in the bathroom, which is already odd. Rodney said that he told the chief of staff, Christina Coram, who is now being compared to Ghislaine, that he was very uncomfortable, but she just downplayed it all as friendly horse playing. That's just Diddy's way of showing he likes you.
What's horse playing?
Like, boys will be boys. Horse playing is like play fighting. I mean, I wouldn't even give that excuse if I had a son who's 7, let alone a middle-aged man.
Imagine being Christian, sitting there in court, watching your family's legacy crumble. While he isn't named as a defendant, these civil lawsuits are dragging him into the mess. One woman, identified as Grace Omar K., filed a lawsuit claiming both Diddy and Christian were involved in sexual misconduct during one of these infamous gatherings.
What's happening is In Touch is reporting that Christian Combs, Sean Combs' son, was served with legal paperwork at his father's Miami mansion. And you know, that was the property that was raided by federal authorities earlier this year before Sean Combs was arrested on sex trafficking, racketeering, and prostitution charges. By the way, that Miami mansion seemed to be the same property by which Sean Combs' legal team was saying that's where we're proposing Sean Combs stay on home confinement if he's granted bail. Now, the current judge overseeing this case, Judge Arun Subramanian, said no, Miami's not going to work. If he's going to do home confinement, it has to be in New York. But it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, Judge Subramanian denied Sean Combs bail. That was the third time that Sean Combs had actually been denied bail in total. Now, going back to this legal paperwork that Christian Combs was served, according to In Touch, this came from Grace O'Markey. This is somebody we've spoken about before here on Sidebar. She was the one who filed a lawsuit against Christian earlier this year. And we remember that O'Markey's civil lawsuit accuses Christian of a battery, sexual, intentional infliction of emotional distress for an alleged incident that happened on Sean Combs' yacht back in 2022. And I'm going to talk about the timing of the service of these papers in a second, but first I want to recap this lawsuit for you. So according to the civil complaint, O'Markey, 25 years old at the time this happened, or allegedly happened, says that she was working as a steward on the yacht that Sean Combs had rented or chartered, and she was in charge of providing food and drinks for a 12-hour period. And she actually said that she believes the alcohol on that yacht had been laced with, because she says that women would have one drink and then almost immediately pass out or start falling over. And again, that is very consistent with allegations that have been made before against Sean Combs. In fact, she described what she thought would be a wholesome family excursion to what she describes as a hedonistic environment. Now, going back to Christian Combs, O'Markey says that Christian, he'd been staying at a villa on the shore, but then he would come onto the yacht in the evenings to party and have a good time. And now we focus on December 28th, 2022. She says that Christian reportedly arrives on that yacht very intoxicated and then pressures her to take shots of tequila. She says that she did, that Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more, and she tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift recording studio. And that's important, and I'll explain why in a second. The complaint reads, at this point, defendant C. Combs violently grabbed plaintiff's arm and began hurting her. He pulled plaintiff to the seat beside him and prevented her from getting up. And she says from there, she claims from there, that Christian allegedly kisses her neck and face as he gropes her legs, her breasts, her private areas. And according to her, she reportedly tells Christian, quote, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that."
As this scandal continues to unfold, everyone's asking the same questions. Is this the end of the Combs empire, or will they somehow find a path to redemption? How will this family navigate the storm surrounding one of music's most controversial figures? The spotlight isn't just bright, it's scorching, and every new development brings more shocking revelations. This story is far from over, and believe me, you'll want to stay tuned for every single update. The implications for the music industry, the Combs family, and everyone involved are simply staggering. Will justice finally be served? Will the truth about Kim Porter's death finally come to light? These questions keep everyone on the edge of their seats, waiting for the next bombshell to drop. Don't you dare miss a single moment of this unfolding drama. It's rewriting music history as we speak. And remember, in the entertainment world, the truth is often stranger than fiction. This case proves it in ways nobody could have imagined. If you're as invested in this story as we are, you know this is just the beginning. Stay tuned, because this saga is bound to have more shocking twists and turns than anyone could predict. The truth always has a way of coming out, and in this case, it's coming out in the most dramatic way possible. Remember to stay connected for more updates on this explosive story, because trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next in this real-life drama that's shaking the entertainment world to its core.